hope you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hope you had a good break. We're going to continue on. Ms. Menashe.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Morning.
Diana Menashe on behalf of Dr. Husel. Can I go through a number of exhibits? I'll just start, if we can. You were shown State's Exhibit 17A. B, and C on direct examination. Do you remember those?
Yes.
Okay. And fair to say these are what they call order sets? Is that correct? You have to say yes or no just for the court report.
Yes.
And you were deposed in relation to this case, were you not?
Yes, I was.
And did you have an opportunity to review that deposition transcript prior to today?
Yes.
And do you remember during your deposition when you were asked specifically about order sets? Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
And in particular, you were asked who uses order sets. Is that fair to say?
I don't recall them asking me that, but
Okay, but more importantly, let me ask you just directly. Order sets are for nurses, correct?
they're, well, they have drug orders on them to check, so it's for the use of the physicians to order.
Okay, let me go to your deposition, if I could. Could you find that page? I may have lost it. 1 second, and I will find it. Sorry. Let me ask you this while I look for the section of your deposition about order sets. You would agree with me that order sets are not mandatory?
That's correct.
And if something's not a mandatory...
Object, Your Honor. In the approach.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, you two haven't got to know each other today. Let's make our time well spent. Miss Schaefer, did you learn to juggle yet?
It's only a lane. These are kid jokes. I'm running good. I used to write on my daughter's napkin for her lunch bag. I never got them.
It'll take her a second. You still got like 10 seconds to entertain them. Oh, yeah? The one your daughter told you, or?
It was Jackie that told me.
Oh, Jackie told you? Okay. Okay.
Let me follow up and be more specific. During the years of 2016, 17, 18, so my questions are going to be during the relevant time frame of this case. Fair to say that the order sets were not mandatory during that time frame?
That's correct.
I want to show you what has been marked as Defendant's Exhibit MCD3 and also MCD4. While I'm going to go one at a time, and I have shown them to the state of Ohio. Mr. O'Connell, do you recognize these? Specifically MCD3. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you a bunch of questions about it if we can.
hold on. When you look and stare at the cross there, we're going to lose you on the mic. Remember, you're going to have to enunciate because you're focused elsewhere, and it's human nature to let the voice go down, so you're going to have to let us get a little volume. I'm sorry for the interruption, Ms. Menashe. You may continue.
That's okay. Thank you, Your Honor. You would agree with me that 2018, 17, 16, there were 3 Pyxis machines on the ICU floor at Mount Carmel West. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Let's just go through the data that appears on the sheet if we can. The time period seems to indicate, does it not, the year of 2017.
That's correct.
And it says, oh, all profile overrides. Do you see that?
Yes.
And you remember, and certainly you know in your capacity, that per policy during this time frame, an override was appropriate either in an emergency situation and/or if a procedure was being done. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you remember being asked, and I assume testimony is here today, that a procedure, in your opinion, based on your experience and position at Mount Carmel West, did in fact include a palliative extubation.
Object.
Okay.
I don't believe.
Let's rephrase the question.
Do you remember being asked this line of questioning during your deposition about what you considered a procedure per hospital policy?
I remember discussing it, yeah.
Okay. Fair to say that you indicated that an intubation was a procedure?
That's correct.
And then you said, did you not, a palliative extubation would also fall in the realm of a procedure?
Object, Your Honor. I don't believe this witness is competent as a pharmacist to decide what a medical procedure is. That would be a question for a physician.
Okay.
Your Honor, overrides is clearly within the purview of the pharmacy. When an override can and can't be used, this falls directly in line with that.
I'll permit the answer.
Sorry, back to the question. Do you recall saying, quote, a palliative extubation would also fall in the realm of a procedure?
I thought that was true. That was my opinion.
So going back to, and you've been a pharmacist for 45 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Going back to this sheet here, we know that this sheet is from 2017. Does it appear to you on sheet 1 to have indicate station 1? Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to flip through the pages and then we're going to look at them as a group. Does it appear on the second page to say station 2?
Yes.
Does it appear on the third page to say station 3?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to go back through and I'm going to write down the numbers on this piece of paper so we can talk about them as a group. With respect to station 1 in 2017, what was the total number of overrides from station 1 in the year 2017?
Is that the totality of the document on the thing? Because you're asking him for a mathematical
No,
calculation.
just the number that's indicated here, Your Honor.
Okay.
We're going to go through the math at the end. 16,510, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And that's for station 1 in 2017. Going to page,
Did he answer?
he shook his head.
Yes.
You gotta help us out. You gotta give an oral response.
Thank you. Station 2, in the same year, it appears that the total station activity with respect to overrides was 11,600. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Station 3, with respect to overrides within 2017, appears to be 8,258. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Now, I do not expect you to be able to know that math at the top of your head, but let's say that those three numbers from Station 1, Station 2, and Station 3, in 2017, the ICU totaled 36,368 overrides in 1 year. Okay, let's say that's the total number. Would you agree with me that if we divided that number by the number of days in a year, we've got about 100 overrides a day in the ICU in 2017?
Correct. The math's correct.
And just so I'm clear, these numbers, this data poll includes all shifts at Mount Carmel. It's for the entire year, correct?
That's correct.
Now, showing you what has been marked as Defense Exhibit MCD4, just to reorient ourselves, this appeared, does it not, to be the override sheet for the year 2018?
That's correct.
And Station 1, the total number of overrides from Station 1 on the ICU floor appears to be 17,562 overrides. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I just want to be sure so the jury knows. I'll compare the last sheet to show that the station numbers are in fact the same. Do you see this right here? COM1CW1 and COM1CW1.
Yes.
So we have 17,562 overrides from that one machine in 2018. Let's talk about the second machine, the ICU. This one I have to lift up a little bit. Second machine, 2018. It appears that there's 10,782 overrides for that machine in 2018, correct?
Correct.
Then going to Station 3, so the third and final station on ICU floor as of 2018, it appears that there was 8,521 overrides from that machine. Would you agree with me?
That's correct.
Okay. And if the math, those three total numbers, were to equal 36,868, we have about the same average of overrides every day on the ICU floor at Mount Carmel West, do we not?
Correct.
About 100 plus a day.
That's correct.
And the total number within 2 years of overrides on the ICU floor is over 70,000, correct?
That's correct.
Do you happen to know that Dr. Husel only worked 3 days a week in the ICU?
Yes.
Yes, you do know that?
I thought, well, I knew he worked I didn't know 3 days.
Okay, you knew he worked part-time?
I know that he wasn't working full-time.
Ms. Menashe, be sure to mark that since you showed the jury.
I will, Your Honor.
Okay? Referring to your mathematics.
Sure. It's my iPhone. Blame the iPhone if I'm wrong.
Well, we can admit your iPhone if you want. That means she doesn't get it back.
I wouldn't do that. I would never mark that, Your Honor. Just some follow-up questions about your direct examination. With respect to the conversation that you had with Randy Miles that you testified to that took place in your office. I know you were asked about that in your deposition and also in your HR interview. Fair to say that at the time when you were asked about that, you said you weren't sure if he actually told you which doctor was involved with that order. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you also indicated that when rating your concern about the information that Randy had given to you, that you said that your concern was about a media. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The morning huddles that you were, forgive me, they weren't morning, they happen twice a day as a matter of policy within the pharmacy department, is that correct?
That's correct.
7 a.m. and then 3 p.m.?
Correct.
And those huddles, those times are representative, are they not, of a shift change?
That's correct.
And sometimes you attended those huddles,
Sometimes, not real frequently, but I did.
and sometimes Randy would go to them,
Yes, and Sarah.
and Sarah. And I would assume that your testimony about the culture of Mount Carmel and the collegiality applies to the huddles as well. Is that true?
Correct.
Based on your direct testimony and how you describe the culture at Mount Carmel, fair to say people felt free to talk to one another if there were issues.
Yes, I believe so.
And it's one of the things that you like about it,
Correct.
right? And so this wasn't a culture based on your long experience there, where people were operating in silos and not communicating with one another, correct?
As to form, if the question relates to the pharmacy department,
Okay.
he's competent. Elsewhere,
Ms. Menashe, let's restructure it, please.
Sure, but he did talk about the culture. But sure, I'm happy to do it. So the pharmacist and your experience with Mount Carmel, well, in your capacity, you certainly had dealings at Mount Carmel with people outside of pharmacy, did you not?
Correct.
And your statements during your direct examination with respect to how you felt about Mount Carmel's culture applied to Mount Carmel as a whole. Did those statements not?
Well, at Mount Carmel West, that was my experience, yes.
You found the culture there to be congenial, right?
Yes,
And people work together,
correct.
people helping out other people. You talked about the mission. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes,
And again, how many years did you work at Mount Carmel West?
1940, 45, 44.
And in your observation over all those years, in the huddles, people talk to one another? People being the pharmacists talk to one another?
Yes,
And as a matter of practice, right? If there's something on my shift that I found important or concerning or relevant in any way, I would pass it on to the next pharmacy shift so that they could have that knowledge, correct?
that's correct.
In fact, I remember from your direct, I wrote down part of the purpose of the huddles is for people to report any, quote, immediate concerns. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
Just curious, you mentioned this individual named Josh. So that Sam has it. How do you spell Josh's last name?
That's tough. His last name is Mush. I guess it's M-A-U-S-C-H. I'm guessing on that. I can't remember.
Okay. And it was asked about him being on an internal quality and safety committee.
Correct.
If you know, when was that formed?
I'd say probably maybe 2017.
And so,
It wasn't real. We hadn't been doing it that long, so.
but you were doing it prior to and at the time of Randy Miles coming to have the conversation with
Yes.
Rob, right?
Correct.
So that year 18 and maybe even into 2017, there was an internal quality and safety committee at Mount Carmel West.
Correct.
Do you know how many people were on that committee?
It varied, but I'd say 6, 7 maybe.
You've never met Dr. Husel, is that correct?
Not to my recollection, no.
You were asked questions on direct about diversion. There had been some time ago meaning before 2016, 2017, 18, 19. There had been issues with diversion at Mount Carmel West, correct?
Correct.
And anytime there's an issue of diversion, it's the hospital's responsibility to report that to the pharmacy board. Is that
Correct.
right? I'm sorry.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. You gotta help me out a bit. We do question and answer, okay? You're dying to get the answer out. Let her finish her question, because this young lady's trying to get it all down.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so let her finish her question. Ms. Menashe.
Appreciate the young lady, though. I hope Sam took that down.
You are much younger than me, so I guess I'm okay in due bounds. It wasn't meant for any other purpose.
Mr. O'Connell, with respect to diversion, there had been issues with diversion at Mount Carmel West, correct?
That's correct.
And I know even in your deposition you were asked specifically that there was previously an issue with fentanyl diversion. Do you remember that? Saying that, in fact, there had been an instance of that.
Correct.
But when you were asked on direct about any nighttime concerns within the ICU about diversion, during the year 2017, no concerns, correct?
That's correct.
2018, no concerns, correct?
That's correct.
2016, no concerns, correct?
Correct.
One moment, Your Honor. Additional questions. I know you were asked about Mount Carmel West was closing and there was a Mount Carmel Grove City location opening. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
And at the time, your position was what, again?
Director of Pharmacy.
And you would agree with me that the Mount Carmel Grove City location couldn't have opened if there hadn't been a pharmacy, a licensing approved for that new building, correct?
That's correct.
And And so certainly getting the licensing for the new building was, in your capacity, something that was very important.
Yes.
And you mentioned your severance agreement with the hospital.
Correct.
Fair to say that in your severance agreement, there is language that says you...
Object, that has not been shown to me.
Let me ask the question, is it a separation agreement or a severance agreement? I want to make sure I get the word right.
Gosh, I don't know, separation, I think. I thought of it as a separation agreement.
You thought of it as separation. So I just want to make sure. Obviously, I'm assuming that you signed that document that was given to you.
Yes.
And before signing it, you reviewed it.
Yes, I did.
And is your attorney in the courtroom here today?
Yes, he is.
I just want to make sure, with respect to separation agreement, as you viewed it, that there is a paragraph in that agreement that says that you agree to not voluntarily aid or assist any person, entity, or group involved in any proceeding, inquiry, or investigation of any kind against any of the released parties, except to the extent as required by law, subpoena, or other compulsory process. Do you remember that language?
Yes.
So tell me if I'm right, that that means that if I, on behalf of Dr. Husel, had reached out to you to speak with you about this case, per your separation agreement, you could not have spoken to me.
Unless it was under subpoena. That's correct.
So the only way that I could have ever spoken to you, or that you would be here today, is being subpoenaed in.
Correct.
Have you ever at any point in time met with the prosecutors in this case?
Yes.
And where did that meeting take place?
In my attorney's office.
So they came to your attorney's office?
Yes.
And were you subpoenaed that day at your own attorney's office to have that meeting, if you know?
I'm not sure it was a subpoena. I don't think I was subpoenaed to do it.
So you were able to just have a meeting with the prosecutors?
Object, Your Honor. We'd like to approach.
Yeah, I figured. Get to know each other, guys. I figure you're getting close to knowing each other. I don't know. stand. Miss Blair, and her magical earphones. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the objection is sustained. You disregard the last question. Next question.
Yes. So to dovetail on prosecutors, I'll just ask you generally, in advance of today, you received, did you not, through your attorney, a letter that addresses whether you are or are not considered a suspect in this case? Do you remember receiving that letter through your attorney?
I don't recall that.
Okay.
I don't recall a letter from.
You don't. Do you remember receiving a letter at all with respect to that?
I was verbally told that.
Okay. Would it help to refresh your recollection if I were to show you a letter that was provided? One moment while I get a sticker.
Preliminary question and possible objection, since this is addressed to Mr. Reinhardt.
It has his name.
It's addressed to Mr. Reinhardt. He's already said he doesn't remember.
Okay, well, we'll get there in a second.
Showing the witness what has been marked as Defense Exhibit RPH-S01. So you can take a look at that. Let me know when you're done.
Okay, thank you.
Now that you've had a chance to take a look at that letter, does that refresh your recollection in any way?
I recall Mr. Reinhardt telling me that, but I don't recall seeing that document.
Okay. So, but you do recall being told that you weren't a suspect. Just a follow-up question as to that. Fair to say that it's your understanding, as you sit here today, that you will be treated only as a witness and not as a suspect, so long as the state has indicated you tell the truth. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Mr. O'Connell, tell the jury, who do you think will be assessing your truth with respect to whether or not you're a suspect?
Objection.
Sustain, strike the question.
Do you believe that as you sit here today, you're a suspect?
No,
Do you believe that you were unfairly treated by Mount Carmel West?
yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In case you want these. Thank you. I'll read them.
Hi, Sean. Okay, I'm going to present State's Exhibit 20D.
Can I see that real quick?
Is this a new document?
Josh Mush.
Okay, look at it's on beyond this.
Please review. I'm placing State's Exhibit 20D on the projector. It purports to be an email from Josh Mush, spelled M-U-S-C-H, to a number of people. And it's been previously identified as a business record of Mount Carmel Hospital. Sir, did you review this document?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Have you seen this document before?
Yes.
What is this document? Your Honor. One moment, I might be able to clear this up. Just one moment. His name's not on that email. Yeah, I know, but it's a business record. It's been previously identified, and he's seen it before. He just testified. Okay.
Is there an objection then?
I was just trying to resolve something without a sidebar, given you don't allow recross. Go ahead.
Well, that'll be an issue that we'll have to have a discussion on, won't we?
Okay, thank you. I'm just trying to establish, this is the email that we discussed in direct, is that correct?
That's correct.
Was discussed in cross, okay. Ms. Menashe brought up the override procedure for Mount Carmel West, or from the Mount Carmel system, during her cross-examination. I'm going to present to the witness State's Exhibit 23C, which has previously been identified as the Automated Dispensing System Medication Override Policy, dated 2 of 2015. Does that purport to be what I identified it as?
Yes.
Okay. I'm projecting it. There's a special comments section, correct?
Correct.
In the middle.
Correct.
And it talks about allowable exceptions to the override policy, correct?
Correct.
What is the first allowable exception?
That an LIP controls the ordering, dispensing, and administration of the drug, such as, but not limited to, the operating room, endoscopy suite, emergency room, and cath lab suite.
Okay. And then there are emergency situations also, correct?
Correct.
So who holds responsibility for dispensing, using, or administering the drug in the first instance?
It would be the LIP.
Who is the
The
LIP?
licensed independent practitioner.
Thank you. Have you ever worked in any other departments other than pharmacy at Mount Carmel West?
Your Honor, beyond the scope at this point?
Agreed, sustained.
That was raised in,
Sustained.
okay, I'm sorry.
cross-examination, Ms. Menashe asked you about comments or testimony that you offered in a deposition, which is in a case entitled Marilyn Brigner as executor of the estate of Larry Brigner versus Mount Carmel West Health Systems. Do you remember that deposition?
Yes.
And at that time, she asked you about rating your concern about the conversation with Randy Miles, correct?
Correct.
And you indicated that, or she indicated that you testified that your concern was medium.
Correct.
Is it not a fact that you testified after that you didn't have enough information to further grade the situation?
That's true.
Okay. You've given an HR interview, a pharmacy board interview, and a deposition in a civil case in this case, correct?
Correct.
So you have testified outside of this courtroom in other causes,
Yes.
other than just for the state of Ohio. And may I have that separation document? Can you mark this?
If it's already marked, use the mark.
It's not marked. Do you want to mark it as your exhibit?
Yeah, I didn't show it to him, so I don't need to mark it. I'm sorry, stand up. I dress.
Okay, well, I'm actually going to show it to him. So just giving you the opportunity if you wanted to. What number? 31. I'm going to hand this witness, Mr. O'Connell, the document that we have now labeled as State's Exhibit 31.
Okay.
Sean, who's the person named on this document?
Swanner.
Is your name on this document?
No.
Is this your document?
No.
No further questions?
Your Honor, may I
Okay,
cross
and-
on it?
Well, hold on. Any questions on the Mosh email?
Yes, please.
If one, just one. Just want to make sure, showing you State's Exhibit 20D. Mr. O'Connell, could you look at the names where it says to? And let me know after you've had an opportunity to review all the names.
Okay.
Do you see your name as someone that email is addressed to?
No.
Do you have any independent recollection as to this email appearing in your inbox, in your email?
No.
Your Honor, may I question about this? No. Thank you.
No. You may step down. Thank you. Let's call your next witness.
have 5 minutes to make sure she's out there, Judge?
So you want a quick break?
Quick break would be great, thank
Do
you.
you guys want a quick break? I'll eat into your lunch a little bit, but that's okay. Let's take 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you.
All rise. Hopefully on Monday, you guys don't have to wear those things anymore unless you want to. There's a big meeting occurring noon hour. Maybe. You're not on the floor, counselor.
I'd like to clarify something with counsel for the prosecution.
Okay, time out. Okay. Mr. Reinhardt is asking to clear something up on the record. He's technically not on the floor. He's not under subpoena. He is here on behalf of his client, though. Do you guys even want to put anything on the record, or you want to leave it hanging?
I do not, Your Honor. I prefer that it not necessarily be in our
Sorry,
record.
you're stuck.